Okay, guys, let's move on. Let's continue our session, guys. So, yes, guys, let's move on. Let's move on. Chat is enabled. You can just utilize chat also for your questions. Okay. Okay, guys. Now let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Coming to today's session, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Good, guys. Let's move on. So today we are actually discussing about what is this object-oriented or object-relational impedance mismatch. So slowly we are going to enter into JPA. That is called, we are going to get introduction to Hibernate and JPA today. So as our session is regarding Hibernate and JPA, so I would like to first introduce you about there are some mismatches are there while mapping the object model with the relational model. So there are some mismatches are there. So then you will understand about why ORM tools are introduced. Okay, so today we are going to focus on that. Basically, I told in the last session that there are some issues with the JDBC API. Right, guys? Okay. Yes, guys. Okay, we will continue our session now. We'll continue our session now. Everybody, let's focus on our session. In the last session, what I told now, when you have data in primitive or when the data is in objects, whatever it is, when the data is like a primitive data or whether the data is in Java objects, we have to use what? JDBC API to interact with what? The database, right? What are the issues here with the JDBC API? Okay, what are the issues with the JDBC API? That is what we are understanding here. Okay, issues with JDBC API. Here only I'm writing in yesterday's document only. Today I will open one more document, but I want to complete issues with the JDBC API here itself. Okay, right. So here we are going to discuss about issues with the JDBC API. The one issue I can tell, we have to embed the SQL code into Java programs, right? We have to embed what? SQL code into Java programs. It makes our Java program as non-portable. That's a first issue, right? Second thing, you have to fire SQL queries from the JDBC program, right? I told some minimum knowledge of JDBC API is required for attending this session. I said basics of JDBC API, basics of SQL, and some core Java knowledge collection. Correct. These are mandatory to attend this session, guys. Okay. So I'm writing, we have to embed, right, SQL code within Java program, right, guys? Okay. Yes, guys, we have to embed SQL code within Java program, which makes non-portable, which makes program non-portable. Okay. Getting my point? We have to embed SQL code within Java program, which makes programs non-portable. That's the first thing, guys. You got my point, everyone? Yes. So boilerplate code and all that we'll discuss. Okay. That's a secondary thing. Boilerplate code and all we are going to eliminate through Spring. Okay. But first we are understanding about why we got JPA Why we got, first of all, object relational mapping. That's what, okay. Why ORM is the next question that we are going to raise. You're getting my point, right, guys? Next, what? So we are going to fire SQL queries from our Java code, right? Means what developer needs to know. Based on the database, you should know about what are the SQL queries required for firing on the database. Hope you are getting my point. Hope you are getting my point, what I'm saying here. Right. Got it. Okay. Hope you are getting my point. What is the point I'm trying to tell you now? What's the point I'm trying to tell you now? Right. So we have to fire. Let me write the code like, okay, we have to fire. What we have to fire? SQL code, right? SQL queries. So we have to fire SQL queries from our Java code. Get my point? We have to fire SQL queries from our Java code, right? What does it mean? This means what? You should know. Got my point? This means you should know the specific SQL queries with respect to database. You understood my point? Everybody, have you understood my point? Is it clear, guys? Okay, okay, nice. Nice. Okay, next thing, guys. Directly JDBC cannot transfer objects, right? What you have to do? You have to manually, okay, the data from Java objects needs to be collected, and you have to store the data in the database by executing SQL queries. You got my point? Okay. In application between the layers, suppose if you take layers, between the layers, data will be transferred. Between the layers, the data will be transferred in the form of what? Between the layers, data will be transferred in the form of what? Objects, right? So we have a web application layer, we have a domain layer, we have a data access layer, right? Between the layers, the data will be transferred in the form of objects. Okay. But from data access layer to database, I cannot directly transfer the objects. So JDBC cannot directly transfer objects. Okay. See here, JDBC API cannot transfer, guys. JDBC API cannot transfer directly Java objects. Okay, what you have to do? Yes, you have to, okay, you have to collect the data. You have to collect the data from object and send it to database through SQL query. Are you clear, guys? Everyone. JDBC API cannot transfer directly Java objects. You have to collect the data from object and send it to database through SQL query. That's what you have to do. Suppose I have a customer object. Suppose I have a customer object, guys. Directly, I cannot send the customer object in JDBC API. First, get the customer ID, customer name from that object, collect it. Then send it to database through SQL query, insert into table name, then put those values there. Are you getting my point? I think you are getting my point, guys. Have you understood my point? Everyone, are you clear? Yes, that's what I have written. Yeah, guys, next one more question. Yes. Everybody, just try to understand here. I think you got my point. I think you got my point, guys. I think you got my point. Yes, next. Guys, next. Look at this. One more. Yes, try to understand. Now, guys, I will tell you one thing. Suppose table structure is ready. Right. Table structure is ready. Based on the table structure, we started writing our code, right? Our SQL queries we have constructed in our application. But say for an example, after the application is constructed based on table structure, suppose there are some changes happen in table structure. Maybe one more additional column is added, or maybe one column's data type got changed. There is some changes happen to the database table, right? Then what you have to do? You have to make changes in the JDBC code, because you are writing SQL queries, and wherever you are writing JDBC code, you have to change that, right? In the entire application, there are so many places where you have written the DAO classes. So you have to go and modify it every place, right? That is definitely going to take more time. Hope you are getting my point, guys, right? Listen to me clearly. Are you getting my point, guys? Try to digest this point, okay? Yes or no? Tell me. So let me give an example otherwise, okay? Okay, let me tell you. See, guys, everyone. See, this is a table in database, right? Just let me tell you. This is a table in database, right? This table has some columns. Okay, the table is there. Table has some columns like this. Got it? I have a table. Table has columns. Guys, there are 4 columns are there in the table. Okay, na? I have a table and table has 4 columns. Now I have created my JDBC code in my project. Based on this table structure, I have prepared all the queries. Okay, but later what happened? Maybe this particular column's data type is changed. Maybe this particular column's data type is changed. Are you able to follow me, right? Let me. You got my point? This particular data type is changed. Got it? Or say for an example. There is a new column is added in the table. There is a new column is added to the table, guys, everyone. One more new column is added, right? What will happen in this case now? Whatever the queries you prepared in this application, whatever the queries that you have prepared, all these queries are just going to need to be changed. I have written queries in so many places in this code. I need to modify all those queries because the table structure is now modified. One more column is added. The data type of the column got changed. So what? According to that, I also need to make what? Changes to what? My particular queries. But I have queries in different places. Say, for example, I have, 20 DAO classes are there. Means there are 20 components are there, which are acting like a DAO components in my project. I have to go and modify at every place, right? Wherever there is a dependency on this particular table, I should go to each and every place and I need to modify, right? First of all, identification is difficult. It will take more time to modify, right? You are getting my point? Is it okay, guys? Everyone, have you understood this point? Are you clear? Are you clear, guys? Yes. Yes. Very good. Good. Good to go. Very good. Nice response, guys. Nice response. Nice. Good. So I want to give you this as a sorry. Let me give you this. Okay, let us move on. Okay, what if a DB structure is modified after constructing JDBC code? Got my point? After DB structure is modified, okay, if DB structure is modified after constructing JDBC code, then you have to modify queries in your code, right? Again, according to the new structure. According to the new structure. So definitely, it will take time. It is time consuming. It is time consuming task. And it makes a burden on the developers. You might have understood, right? Okay, guys. Everyone. Okay, that is what. Okay, that is what you people need to understand, right? So these are the issues with what? JDBC API. Do remember this, guys. Okay. Between our application to the database, if we use JDBC for database interactions, directly it cannot transfer objects. It won't directly transfer what? Objects. Okay. So we have to collect the data from the object, and then we need to send the data to the database through SQL queries only. You got my point? Right. Now these are the issues, guys. This is yesterday's topic, and today just I elaborated with some kind of whatever the issues are that the JDBC API that we have discussed here. Now we have to understand about that why we should go for object relational mapping. Okay, so that is what your today's session is. What, guys? Object relational mapping tools, ORM tools. That is what we are going to look at. It's very important, guys. Okay, then you will understand about. Okay, then you'll understand about what the advantage of ORM. What is Hibernate? Okay, you are going to understand about the Hibernate architecture. We are going to learn all these things. Okay, right. Cool. Yes, guys. Let me open the new document. So now in this new document, I would like to explain. Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Yes. Just a minute, guys. 1 minute. Yeah. Now I think you can able to see my screen, right? Now, our next question is, guys, why? Why ORM? What is ORM stands for actually? Object relational mapping. Guys, everyone understand this concept. We want to understand about why ORM, why object relational mapping. That's what we want to understand here, guys. Okay. Now, see, guys, I'll tell you. So there is a big challenge here. Okay, because object-oriented programming concepts are different, and relational database management concepts are different. RDBMS concepts are different. So integrating object-oriented programming with a relational database management system, and to make them work together, there is a lot of technical dependencies are there. You might have, I'm just going to give you some of the examples today, guys. Okay, you have to understand these examples so that you understand why ORM tools got introduced. Okay, so today we are going to actually start with our actual concept. The actual concept is going to start from today onwards. And I'm going to give you the basically why these ORM tools got introduced. What is the use of them? That's what I'm going to give you now. This is the actual concept started. Okay. Just try to understand now. Okay. Get my point clearly? Right. Let me tell you here. What is a point I just want to tell you is, guys, what the point I want to tell you is integrating the concepts of object-oriented programming with relational database management system, right? Having some technical difficulties. Let's understand what are the technical difficulties. And then you will understand about the importance of the ORM tools, why ORM tools got introduced. I'll tell you. Integrating the object-oriented programming concepts. You got my point? Integrating the object-oriented programming concepts with relational database management system, RDBMS concepts. Has technical difficulties. Guys, let me tell you what are the technical difficulties we have. So everyone, those who have not yet joined in our WhatsApp group, guys, you can just join in WhatsApp group for Hibernate class updates. Okay, just now we pasted one link in the chat box. So please click on that link and join us so that you will get the class updates. Everyone. Are clear? Now, guys, we will look forward. What are the technical difficulties? Okay. Let me tell you guys. Because both will follow different patterns. I can tell you there are technical difficulties because both will follow follows different patterns. Okay, let me talk about what are the technical difficulties. Now, difficulty number one. See, suppose in our application, we have classes, and in the database, means the relational model we can call, there are tables. For example, I have a student and I have an address. There are two classes with me. Listen to me clearly. Okay. There are what? Student and address. Two classes are there. And in the database, I have only one table called student table. And in that student table only, I want to store the student details along with his address. So there is a mismatch now. Requirement is what? I have a student class and address class. Got it? I have a student class and I have an address class. Two classes are there. But in the database table, I have a single table called student table. And that table only used to store the both student details and address details. What is happening here? The number of classes in my application and the number of tables in database. Means in our application means what, guys? Object model. Database means what, guys? Relational model. Both are mismatching. My requirement is what? I want to save a student and his address into database. But in the database, there is only a single table created for storing student and address of the student. But in my application, I have two classes, student class and address class. So there is a mismatch between the number of classes in object model with number of tables in the database. This is actually called as what I can say this as it has a name actually. This is called granularity problem. Everybody. So let's understand about the first difference case. Okay, what are the first one? Okay, what are the problems here? Mismatch. Mismatch between what? The number of classes in object model and the number of tables in the relational model. I am understanding. I'm just trying to tell you why ORM tools are given. You people need to understand this point. Okay. Mismatch between the number of classes in object model and the number of tables in the relational model. And this problem is actually called, this is called a granularity problem. Okay. This is called a granularity problem. Yes, guys, everyone. Second one. Everybody. Yes, guys. Are you getting my point, right? You got my point, I think so. Okay. Next guys. See, in object model, we are understanding about what are the mismatches. Okay. Look at, suppose in our OOPS concepts, one of the OOPS principle is what? Inheritance. We can create a child class which acquires properties from its parent class. Correct. But is it available in databases? Guys, can you reply? Can you give me a reply in chat? Everybody? Do you have this kind of inheritance concept there? Correct. Answer is no. Very good, guys. Nice response. Keep it up. Correct. Which means what? What is another mismatch problem here? Okay. Inheritance is there in object-oriented model. In object model, we have inheritance, but this is not available in relational model. In object model, we have inheritance, but it is not available in relational model. Okay, one more thing, guys. I think you know about what is that, guys? Double equal to operator. Probably, I think so. You know about double equal to operator, and you know dot equals method, double equal to operator. Yeah, guys, you are aware of this, right? Do you know what is the difference between them? How can you differentiate them? Double equal to operator and equals method, guys. Yeah. You know, double equal to operator and equals, right? There is a difference between them. Yes, correct. Double equal to operator means reference comparison. Double equal operator for reference comparison. Equals method is for value comparison. Equals is used to check for the values, right? So equals is a value comparison. Double equal to operator is a reference comparison. Okay, guys. I have a question to you. Okay. So in object model, how we are finding equality? In object model, how can we say both objects are equal or not? Using this double equal to operator, otherwise by calling equals method, right? But what about relational model? Suppose to identify whether two records are equal or not. Are you getting my point? In the relational model, means in the databases, how can you check that whether these two records are equal or not? How can we, get the uniqueness to identify the records? Using primary key, right? Using primary key. Got my point? But what about object model? In object model, we have equals method. Otherwise, we use double equal to operator. So means what? In object model, equality is determined with double equal to operator or equals method. But in a relational model, equality is determined with primary key. It's a mismatch, right? See, in object model, equality is determined with double equal to operator. Or with equals method. Okay, but in relational model, okay, equality is determined with primary key. You have to understand all these things. These are all important. I have a next question to you guys. I have a next question to you. I think, has a relationship. I'm expecting that, has a relationship. Am I right? Correct, guys? Okay, good. So generally, when there are two objects in object model, okay, how do you represent association? Correct, yes, nice, very good. Giving good response. Guys, my question, you got my question, right? My question is, what in object model, how do you represent the association? Okay, for example, if you want to define has a relationship, okay. Has a relationship I'm talking about. So how do you represent has a relationship or has a association? You are creating a reference variable, right? You're getting my point? We are creating a reference variable, na? It's an object reference you are creating. Auto wiring and all not belongs to this session, guys. Auto wiring is a concept of Spring framework, right? So we are not discussing about Spring. I'm talking about object model, right? So dependency injection, auto wiring, these are not the correct answers because we are not working with the Spring. We are not talking about that. We are talking about simply object model. You're getting my point, right? So we don't use the words like parent class and child class. Parent class, child class are the words to be used only in inheritance. Okay, I'm talking about what has a relation. Object reference variables we create. Okay, so for associating two classes, we are going to create reference variable. The association is represented using reference variables. Correct. But in the database, there are two tables. There are two associating tables are there. What are used for associating the two tables? Correct answer. Very good. Foreign key. Very good. Nice. Foreign key. Foreign key refers primary key of the one more table, right? One table foreign key refers other tables primary key. Correct. Yes. Excellent guess. Good. But this is a mismatch only, no? Here we are using reference variable. There is a foreign key. So guys, in object model, okay, the association is represented. Okay, association is represented using reference variables. But in relational model, association between tables is represented with a foreign key. Now this is one more mismatch case. Now lastly, one more point I would like to tell you. Guys, these are all important. These are the technical differences between object-oriented programming concepts and relational RDBMS concepts. Hope you are clearly getting the point what I'm telling now. Guys, is it understandable for you so far? What are the four differences I have explained? The technical differences. Have you understood them? Is it very clear? Right. As I said already, you should have the process like why. Okay, you should know about the process like why this kind of tools introduced. Okay, that always gives us very good clarity in our mind. Subject clarity means you should know the reason behind why this concept got in. For every concept there is a requirement. Everything is a requirement, right? Without requirement we don't have anything. Okay, guys, let's move on. Let me tell you. Lastly, one more thing I want to tell you guys. I think this is going to be easy for you. Right. Just try to understand my point, guys. Assume that I'm not talking about private or public variables, but I just want to tell you, I have a student object. Student has an address object. Address has a city. You got my point, guys? Then tell me, how can I access the city? I have a student object. Student object has an address. Here I'm not talking about private methods or private variables, public methods, not like this. I'm talking generally. I have a student object. Student object has address object. Address object has a city. Or maybe student object has address object. Address object has a state object. State object has city. Assume that. Address, student, address, state, city. Guys, how can you travel it? Exactly. Student dot operator. Student dot address dot state dot get city or city simply. Student dot address dot state dot city. You people got my point, right? Which operator we are using? Dot operator we are using. What about relational model? You have a student table, address table, state table. In the state table, there is a column called city. Now, how can you travel? How can you go? How can you walk through that city? In the relational model, can you use a dot operator? Very good. Good guys, good. Very good guys. Okay. Yes, in this batch I got people with nice knowledge. Yeah, quickly you're quickly understanding the concept and immediately responding. That's really nice, guys. Many of the people attempt correct answer. Joins. Very good. Nice people. Yes. Correct. Joins. But what about join operations for that only, right? Very good. But what about object model? In object model, we are not using joins, right? We have a dot operator. So to travel through the object network, we use dot operator. But in relation model, to move between the related records, we have to use join operation. That is also called a technical difference only, no? You might have got my point. Have you understood, guys? Correct. Nice. Cool. I would like to just write that. So in object model, okay, the dot operator, I'm just keeping dot, okay, the dot operator is used to travel through, better word I'm writing, is to travel through the object network. Right? But in relational model, guys, tell me. But in relational model, what we are going to use here? Join operation used. Join operation is used. Okay. To move between the records. Everybody got it, right? Using join operation. You are correct. Now I want to tell you this. There are some technical difficulties are there between object-oriented programming concepts and RDBMS concepts. Am I right or not? Once again, just if you look at this, first one is a mismatch between the number of classes and number of tables. This is called granularity problem. And we have inheritance here, but we don't have that in relational model. Here we are using equals and double equal to operator, but there we have primary key. And here we have reference variables used for association, but there we use foreign key. And we have a dot operator to travel, but there is a join operation required to get the data. These are all the different mismatches between what and what, technical difficulties between what and what, object-oriented programming model and relational model. Now, I think you have understood about why ORM tools are introduced. So by leveraging all these difficulties, technical difficulties, and to map Java objects with database tables, we got the tools. You got my point, guys? Right. You got my point? So why ORM tools are introduced? That's what the concept, right? Okay, why ORM tools are introduced? ORM tools are introduced to leverage the technical difficulties like whatever we discussed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By leveraging all these technical difficulties and to map Java objects with the database tables, we got the tools called ORM tools. You understood my point, guys, everyone? Why ORM tools are got introduced? Have you understood now? Next, I will tell you. Okay, examples we'll discuss next. But first, initial understand why ORM tools. That's it. Today's session is what? You should understand about why ORM tools. There are multiple ORM tools are available, but the most popular ORM tool is Hibernate. What do you mean by Hibernate now? Hibernate is one of the object relational mapping tools available in the market. But this is the most popularly used, mostly used ORM tool is Hibernate. And why Hibernate only mostly used? I'll tell you what are the reasons, what are the advantages of working with that. You got my point, guys? Everyone got it? So I just want to give you a point here. What's the point I want right here? I would like to at a point like this, guys. But the point I want right here is, look at this. The point which I want right here is, right. ORM tools were introduced to leverage the technical difficulties or technical challenges between the OOP model and RDBMS, means relational model, and to map the Java objects with the tables in databases. Hope this point got a clarity for you. All these documents I will share, yesterday's document, day before yesterday's document, and today's document I will share. Right. Now finally, I'd like to ask a question, guys. Have you understood today's session clearly? Everyone. Nice, good. Good, guys. Is it clear, everyone? Have you enjoyed the session for today? Very nice, guys. Very nice. Very nice, guys. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. Good. Yesterday I told. Yeah. Good to go. Yeah. Yesterday I told I just want to give you one question. 1 or 2 questions I want to give you every day. I mean, basically most of the questions I'll ask you from core. Okay. Okay, we will start asking that. I mean, I will definitely give you some questions. Okay, definitely. For the time being, I need to leave now, but I will give you. Just meanwhile, you just go through some string operations and arrays related operations. So I will give you little bit, not very easy, little bit tough questions to practice, so that you will get the programming skill. I will definitely give you on that. Okay, and tomorrow also we have session, guys. Okay, it is Monday to Saturday, so tomorrow also we have the session, and from next Monday, that is on 26th, you just refer our Ashok IT website, you will come to know. Those who want to attend the Spring REST and Microservices session, that is going to be started at morning 6:30. That session is from 6:30 to 7:30, and that session is going to be completely discussion on the Spring REST web services with the securities like OAuth, JWT, Spring security, caching. Okay, connecting with the multiple databases, working with NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra. So all I'm going to teach in that, in the Spring REST application. So that is called a Spring REST, RESTful web services and microservices. That in the microservices, lot of things. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to cover on Monday on that session at 6:30 a.m. That's a new batch I'm going to start on next Monday, that is on 26th. I'm going to start at morning 6:30 a.m. That's from 6:30 to 7:30, and this is from 8 to 9. Okay. So, and tomorrow also we have this session, and tomorrow first we will start with what are the advantages of working with Hibernate, and next we'll understand what is JPA, what is Hibernate, how can you differentiate them. Okay. These are all the concepts we are going to learn in the next session. That is on tomorrow. I will provide you all these things. Okay. That's the end of the session. That's the session for today, and tomorrow I will continue, guys. Okay. Anyhow, once again, thanks for attending this session, guys. Thank you. and have a great day. Have a great day, guys. I'm going to stop my screen now. I need to leave now. Okay. I have to go to my office. Okay. Right. Thank you.